In Formula One, it's often said that the first person you have to beat is your teammate. Logan Sargeant hasn't achieved that so far this season, and his seat could be up for grabs next season. Rumour has it that Mercedes reserve driver Mick Schumacher is in the running to replace Sargeant at Williams. Do you think that Mick will be in a Williams race seat soon? And will he be up to the task? Stay tuned as we find out more. Once a driver gets a taste of racing in Formula One, there's no turning back. So, when they don't secure a seat in Formula One, they fight that much harder to get back to it. And that's exactly what Mick is trying to do. He joined Formula One in 2021 and drove for Haas till the end of 2022, after which his German compatriot Nico Hülkenberg replaced him. But Mercedes hired him as their reserve driver for 2023. Although the role has been fulfilling, he's striving for more. Being the son of F1 legendary driver Michael Schumacher, Mick finds himself in a uniquely fortunate position to make his mark in the world of motorsports. The Schumacher name comes with a rich legacy of skill, determination, and expertise. Growing up surrounded by the insights and experiences of his father, Mick has had the opportunity to absorb invaluable knowledge about racing dynamics, strategy, and the mental fortitude required for success at the highest level. Despite his advantageous background, he faces the challenge of proving himself against formidable opponents who have similarly strived to earn their positions through exceptional performance. His journey in Formula One, while benefiting from a legacy, is ultimately determined by his individual abilities and dedication to the sport. I would personally expect him to be like his father, but who knows, maybe his time is yet to come. As the silly season arrives and drivers start playing musical chairs, the fate of Sargeant's seat, who has by far failed to shine in his debut year at Williams, has been the topic of much speculation. Pundit Lawrence Barretto notes that the American may be replaced at the end of 2023, with Mick as the main driver in the running. Schumacher would be an apt selection for Williams since he was already in talks with the team late last year, before the seat he was vying for ultimately went to Sargeant instead. Mick still remains sharp through his work at Mercedes, where he has been praised for his efforts by teammates George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. Williams and Mercedes retain a strong relationship, as the latter supplies engines to the Oxfordshire-based squad. Mick may not have been particularly impressive during his stint with Haas, but he has some experience and is available, which might be enough for Williams to take a punt on the German. Sargeant's average finishing position has been 16th, barring DNFs in Australia, Canada and Hungary. His best performance was P11 at the British Grand Prix. His teammate Alex Albon, on the other hand, has achieved an average finish of 12th and a best of P7 at the Canadian Grand Prix. While Albon's best qualifying result was P8 in both Australia and Britain, Sargeant has only slotted as high as P14 on the grid. Williams currently sits 7th in the constructors' standings with 11 points, all of which were scored by Albon. It's just ahead of Haas on countback, with the American licensed team similarly scoring 11 points thus far. Alfa Romeo is close behind on 9 points, and AlphaTauri lags behind with just 3. Williams is unlikely to go the brutal AlphaTauri route of dropping their driver mid-season. With 10 races remaining, there's everything left to play for. To hold his seat, Sargeant would be well advised to up his game across the board, since there's a gap between him and his teammate, most obviously in qualifying, which is only making his job harder when it comes to racing on Sunday. It's already clear that Sargeant's only way of securing his seat at Williams is by improving his consistency and getting top 10 finishes. Although Nico Rosberg, who was Michael Schumacher's teammate at Mercedes from 2010 to 2012, feels it was hard for Mick to shine in the Haas, he believes that the 24-year-old showed a lack of consistency when it came to getting the best out of the machinery he had. Surprisingly, in 2021 alone, according to Business F1, he cost Haas around $4 million for team repairs, which is $1.5 million more than what initially surfaced on the internet. For a team with a small budget like Haas, it's a crucial number and could change the game. That was a criticism for Gunther Steiner, and when there was an opportunity, Rosberg felt that Mick was fit for that seat, but it was Kevin Magnussen who took it. He said, "It was great to have Mick Schumacher on the grid, and interesting to follow his performances in the Premier class. Unfortunately, it was extremely difficult for him because he had the worst car in the field for long stretches. It's difficult to set highlights there. Nevertheless, you have to compare him with Kevin Magnussen. There was a lack of consistency, and Magnussen was always there in those moments when the car gave something away. Mick lacked these peaks. Unfortunately, there will now be a break in his GP career for the time being. According to Rosberg, how long this break lasts will be key to whether we see Schumacher on the Formula One grid again. Rosberg feels that the recently confirmed reserve spot at Mercedes is a good next step in Mick's career, but if it does not lead to a place on the 2024 grid, then he does not see how Schumacher will make that return. Reserve driver at Mercedes, that's a good option to stay in F1 and keep the chances of coming back somewhere in 2024, but Schumacher would also need a good sponsor to support him financially in his comeback to the grid. If nothing comes of it next year, then that would probably be the end with Formula One, said Rosberg. That being said, Rosberg does not believe that a future without Formula One is necessarily a negative one for Schumacher. Quite the opposite. In fact, DTM, Formula E, and IndyCar are also series where Rosberg believes Schumacher could enjoy racing. To his point, if Schumacher is not on the Formula One grid once more, then the cards really would need to fall perfectly for him to make a comeback. Fortunately, that very well could happen, courtesy of Audi. A deal has been struck for the German brand to partner up with Sauber from 2026 onward, thus creating an Audi Works team. Audi's interest in making Schumacher a part of their lineup has been put on record for quite some time now, and even before 2026, if there is an opportunity at the team that will operate as Sauber in 2024 and 2025, then Audi would likely be pushing hard to get Schumacher through the door, and Mercedes cannot be discounted as an option. Hamilton says he has another 5 years to go, but if he were to reduce that timescale, then Schumacher could be an appealing option for Mercedes to place alongside George Russell, who claimed the team's only pole position and Grand Prix victory of 2022. Mick is running out of time to get back to Formula One, with competition for seats high, according to AlphaTauri boss Franz Tost. During his time at Mercedes, Mick has worked on the simulator and also got to drive the W14 at the Pirelli tyre test after the Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona. That outing gave him a feel of the 2023 car while he helped the team gather valuable data for next year. He also played a huge role in the double podium Mercedes achieved in Barcelona because of his work on the simulator. His success off-track only fuels his hunger to get back on it, and he is fighting for redemption. After the Pirelli test, where Schumacher had a good showing, Toto Wolff was asked about Mick's future. He explained that, despite being a talented driver, his chances of securing a seat in 2024 are bleak. Most of the teams have drivers on contracts at least till the end of 2024, including Mercedes, because of which Wolff didn't show much optimism. And now that Mick is no longer in the Ferrari family, joining a Ferrari-affiliated team is also not likely. Despite what Wolff said, Mick is confident about getting a seat in F1 soon. In an interview discussing his future in the sport, he said, "Believe me, I'm working very hard to be back in a car soon. Very soon, next year at the latest. That should be the time for me again. I'm sure something will happen in the near future." Even though most seats on the grid are occupied, Schumacher hasn't ruled out the possibility of getting an offer from any of them. He's ready to grab the first opportunity he gets. Apparently, I think Mick seems like a genuinely good guy. Sometimes a car just doesn't suit a driver. Maybe his talents would shine in a Williams. Even as a Schumacher, he probably has one more shot in Formula One to showcase his skills before it's over for him. And while his heritage grants him unique insights, it's also a reminder that success in Formula One isn't solely inherited but earned through hard work and consistent performance. Do you think Mick will get another chance back into Formula One, or is it all bleak? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the latest videos. Bye for now.